Alec Pierce or Parris Campbell, who finishes second on the Colts in receiving this year? We debate that and much more on today's episode of Locked On Colts. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Colts fans, thank you so much for tuning in and making us your number one listen of the day. This is your daily podcast covering your Indianapolis Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This is Jake Arthur, joined as always by my partner, Zach Hicks. Today, Zach and I are going to go through each of the Colts pass catching groups, the receivers, running backs, and tight ends, and we're going to tell you who to look out for this season. We'll also make a case for a pair of veterans and also a couple of rookies to be among the team's leaders in receiving. We know who the leaders are, but who is going to be the Robin to their Batman? All right, so obviously we're going to start with receivers. We know who the top guy is. That's Michael Pittman Jr.
Last year, it's Ashton Dulin. It's Ashton Dulin is number one. Everyone else pales in comparison.
We'll get to that nonsense in a second. Yeah. No, it's last year it was far and away Michael Pittman Jr. Carson Wentz had kind of one, maybe two guys he was clearly comfortable with. Pittman led the team in targets. He had 129. Next closest was Zach Pascal with 69. He led in receptions by 50, receiving yards by like 700. So that was not close. But Zach, who do you have finishing second this year?
Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of a battle royale here. You know, I'm going to debate my guy. Jake's going to debate his guy. And then you guys are going to vote on Twitter why I succeeded in my debate. So to start off, my guy that I'm picking is I'm going with the rookie. I'm going with the young guy. I have to go with my guy, Big Alec here. Alec Pierce, the guy who I think there was like a live stream out there that I was on during draft night when the Colts selected him, and I was jumping up and down, so excited. And, you know, when you look at this Colts receiver core, it's Alec Pierce. It's Alec Pierce right behind Michael Pittman Jr. He's got the draft pedigree, you know, coming out of the draft this year. You know they're going to want to get him involved. He fits that Z position super, super well. Was a great deep threat in college, great height, weight, speed guy. And he's pretty developed too. I mean, he was a senior. He played well at the Senior Bowl. Pretty good route runner for a guy who, yes, I think he's a tad stiff, but I don't think it's like, you know, it's not like DK Metcalf's 3-cone or anything like that coming. Mm-hmm. You know, he is a loose athlete. He is a good route runner. And I think that's going to transition really well to start this next season. I mean, when you think of Frank Reich's offense, you think of the backside digs that he wants to run. You think a lot of the Yankee concepts where you can have that deep guy over the top. You're going to want your 6'3" receiver who runs, you know, low 4.4 threes running those kind of concepts there. I mean, he's just going to be a killer on the backside where defenses are going to be so worried about Michael Pittman Jr. over the middle and underneath and those run after catch stuff. Alec Pierce is going to be able to catch those balls down the field. He's going to be able to catch those balls on the sideline. And I think he's going to emerge as the number 2 guy in this receiver group. You know, we're going to talk about it more with the running backs. I don't think Alec Pierce is going to be the second leading pass catcher on this team, but I do think he's going to be a guy who could fight for, you know, 3rd on the team in targets, 4th on the team in targets overall or something like that in year 1, which it's crazy to think with the Colts. You know, these guys typically don't come in year 1 and do that outside of, you know, Michael Pittman Jr. a little bit in his rookie season. But, you know, the stars are kind of aligning for Alec Pierce to be the guy this year. So I'm all in. Alec Pierce Truther. You can see it right there in my name if you're on YouTube watching us. I'm all in on Alec Pierce this year, and I think he's going to be the second leading receiver in this group.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad pick. I'm not mad about it. And
I had the first selection in here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he was their first pick in the draft. It certainly would not be a bummer for that to happen. But I'm going to take a leap of faith with my selection. I'm going to say Mr. Parris Campbell. He's going to stay healthy. He's going to play, I don't know if it's 17 games, but maybe 14, 15, 16, whatever.
10. I'd be cool with like 8 at this point.
I think we all would. But I think we've seen in his 3 seasons what the Colts want to do with him when he is on the field. I don't want to say he gets force-fed the ball, but they find multiple ways to get him the ball. Now with Carson Wentz, I don't want to totally throw it away, but there weren't many guys who gelled with him last year. So I'm not going to make that an indictment on Campbell. But Phillip Rivers loved him in the 5 quarters he played with him.
If
Yeah,
that 4.5.
exactly. Yeah, we've seen it happen before. We saw him develop more as a deep threat last year. I mean, his injury that cost him the majority of the season came on a 51-yard touchdown reception.
Yep.
We've seen him do a lot of underneath stuff, jet sweeps, end arounds, things like that. If he is the primary slot guy this year, which it looks like he might be, I think that'll gel pretty well with Matt Ryan. We saw Parris Campbell very involved this spring with Matt Ryan under center. I think he's going to really dig that speed. And to me, the only thing keeping Campbell from being that second guy are the injuries.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The best ability is availability. And I think Alec Pierce is definitely ahead already. Already on his first day in camp, he's already ahead in that regard. Alec Pierce, I think, is definitely my guy. But, Parris Campbell, man, if he could just stay healthy, like that Jaguars game in 2020 was great. There were some good moments last year too. And then obviously something that you have going for you in this argument is the scheme touches, the touch passes and all that. Alec Pierce is not really a yards after catch guy. In this offense, it's a big yards after catch offense. So Parris Campbell, if he plays, but at the end of the day, the guy who's going to be out there is Alec Pierce. And I do think, there might be a bit of a learning curve. The first couple of weeks, it might be all Parris Campbell and Ashton Dulin out there. But once Alec Pierce steps on the field as that starting Z or maybe starting slot, who knows? We'll see a lot in camp with where he is. Because, the Colts the last couple of years have gone with a bigger player in the slot. It's been Zach Pascal in the slot over the last 3 years. And Alec Pierce kind of size and speed threshold a little bit better. But, at the end of the day, I think once Pierce settles into that number 2 role, I think he's going to just fit like a glove in this offense on those backside digs and those deep routes. And they have a quarterback who can consistently hit those down the field. I mean, Matt Ryan, I think according to Next Gen Stats was top 3 in the NFL in deep passing, I believe is what they had. Even if it's not as many shots as it was last year, Alec Pierce, I honestly think Alec Pierce is more suited for deep shots in that deep role than Michael Pittman Jr. is.
I agree with that. I think, and I'm not trying to defeat my own argument here, but
yes, that's what my plan was here. That's my plan was.
Right? Yeah, you're trying to attack me from the inside. Yes. No, so Alec Pierce, watching him play at Cincinnati, does that not look so much like what Matt Ryan was comfortable with in 2021 with the Falcons?
Yep.
A lot of those deep outside shots. I'm thinking Kyle Pitts, guys like that. I don't think he's going to have a Kyle Pitts season, but just stylistically, that's just what I keep envisioning in my head is his role. Those just deep outfield, get it to only where he can get it, make him jump and out finesse his defender. That's kind of how I see it. And I'm just going to make a quick counterpoint because we know we will have those Ashton Dulin people out there, right?
Yes. Yes.
No, I personally, I do think Dulin will have a nice role in this offense. It could be very Zach Pascal-like. He's one of the guys that does the dirty work, does a little bit of everything. I do think they like him as a receiver. I just think the other guys are probably going to get more opportunity to get more significant target shares and things like that.
Yep. The second one person goes down, though, it's Ashton Dulin time. It is officially Ashton Dulin time.
Season, as they say.
Season. Ashton Dulin season. If he gets like 2 touchdown catches, it's Ashton Dulin. Actually, I think he had that last year. 3 touchdown catches. It's Ashton Dulin season.
So a clear victory for me on that one. No, coming up, we've discussed the receivers and who can come up behind Pittman to lead the group. Next, we're going to talk about a group that probably isn't discussed enough as pass catchers, at least not nationally, when people talk about, they don't like the Colts receiving group. That's the running backs. Before that, because I'm always hungry, let's talk about our friends at Built Bar, Zach. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right, the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love and the deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness, man. That may sound too good to not be super fat, but it's super not. Stop drooling and listen. They are good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all delicious. For someone like me who has to watch what they eat, Built Bars come in clutch. Coconut brownie chunk puffs are only here for a limited time, guys. Go to built.com now to make sure you don't miss out. They're going fast because they taste amazing. All Built Bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you.
Yeah, the best part about Built Puffs is, of course, they taste amazing, but you can enjoy them guilt-free because they're actually good for you. I know we've said this 100 times, but like it's just shocking to continually say it because, again, you read off all this cocoa and chocolate and stuff, and I'm like, man, me pushing 200 pounds now, I need anything that's cocoa and chocolate. But no, if it's good for you, it's the perfect treat. Perfect when you got that craving and when you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, but also when you need a quick, healthy snack. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. I mean, honestly, stop fantasizing. Get to built.com and order your box of coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs right now. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo LOCKED15.
Hope you guys enjoy Zach's little feature there. That's a famous picture on Colts Twitter, guys.
If you guys are listening on audio, please go over to our YouTube channel, Locked On Colts, and just watch it wherever timestamp we're at right now. Just watch the transition.
Oh yeah,
there.
If you're listening. Yeah, if you're listening to audio right now, you're not going to get the full experience. So later, go check out YouTube and you'll see what we're talking about.
Oh man,
but
awful.
Oh gosh, yeah. Anyways, now we're going to talk about the most dangerous group on the Colts offense. That's the running backs. They're outstanding on the ground, of course. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league, Titans fans, but they can also be so dangerous catching the ball anywhere on the field. Last year, Nyheim Hines, a little bit of a down season with receiving. I think we both would say it wasn't totally his fault. I mean, as a rookie in 2018, he had 63 catches. In 2019, it went down to 44. Was that Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah.
Of course, didn't get the Andrew Luck treatment like he probably would have wanted. Of course, back up to 63 in 2020 with Phillip Rivers, and then down to a career low 40 with Carson Wentz last year.
I wonder what the common denominator is in his good season.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe real inconsistent quarterbacks. I don't know about that.
No, I don't know. I don't know. But I would, the bet probably starts at 63 catches for him this year.
Yeah, I'd put the over-under at 60, and I would take the over.
Yeah. I would too. And honestly, while we're talking pass catchers here, I know I just fought for Alec Pierce. I like Parris Campbell. But if we're talking about second leading receiver in terms of catches this season, I think it has to be Nyheim Hines. Easy.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement there because, the rules were we were going by position groups.
Yes.
But overall, second on the team receiving, at least receptions, that'll be Hines, I'm sure.
Right. And the biggest thing that people don't talk about enough, and we're not really doing our debate here. We're both just going to be completely agreeing with each other in this section before we get back to fighting in the last section. But Nyheim Hines last year had his career high in snaps at wide receiver. I think it was like 140 something. Which weirdly enough, despite his low catches and his low receiving total, I think it was only like 40 catches or 40 snaps at receiver behind Cordarrelle Patterson with the Falcons last year. And Cordarrelle Patterson was basically a hybrid wide receiver running back. So the Colts got Nyheim Hines out at receiver a lot. I think it comes out to like 10 snaps a game or something like that, or 8 snaps a game. Something like that. And he was getting some real snaps at receiver, especially down the stretch. They were putting him in the slot and using him in a lot of motion ways to free up Jonathan Taylor in the run game. But I think we could see even an increase in that, up to 200, 250 snaps out at wide receiver, because, we talk about this wide receiver depth chart. We talk about these players, but Nyheim Hines is the second best weapon in the pass game on the Colts team. You got to get him on the field, even if he is the second running back behind Jonathan Taylor. So if that's more slot snaps, more wide receiver snaps, just more 2 running back sets, I think they're going to have to be creative with getting him on the field. And Matt Ryan's the type of quarterback that can actually utilize him.
Yeah, totally agree. I think this version of the Colts offense, as long as the tools are there and staying healthy, Matt Ryan is still there. I think other than with Andrew Luck in 2018, this is going to be the most open and versatile Frank Reich will be able to have his offense operating. I think we both now have seen that Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines are very much entering or are in their prime. And Frank Reich's going to want to be able to do stuff with that, get them both on the field at the same time. It's been an absolute love affair between Nyheim Hines and the Colts and Matt Ryan and all that this spring. Frank Reich even said, if I played fantasy, I think I would invest heavily in Nyheim Hines.
Yep.
Matt Ryan has shown mad love towards Hines and vice
Didn't Chris
versa.
Ballard say in his postseason press conference or something that we need to get Nyheim Hines the ball more? Like that was like one of his big things he said. Like, and I'm in complete agreement. Like Nyheim Hines after 2020 didn't look like, a scat back or backup running back. He had like 5 yards per carry on the run. I think it was 4.8 yards per carry in the run game. He had his career high in receptions and receiving yards. I think he was like third in the NFL among running backs and catches. And again, as a runner, I mean, if you watch that playoff game against the Bills in 2020, you would argue that he was the best weapon the Colts had on offense in that game. He had a few humongous runs that kept the Colts in the game late. He's a guy who just needs to get the ball more. And even, and it's funny, we're talking about this section here about pass catching running backs. And, it's like, Nyheim Hines, but Jonathan Taylor has been outstanding in the pass game as well.
Yes, absolutely.
It is insane how you can just get the ball in his hands no matter whatever you're doing. It could be a screen, it could be a swing pass, it could be in the run game. Just get the ball in his hands and good things happen. And he's a weapon in the pass game.
Short, intermediate, and long. We've seen him score or make big plays on all of them. As a rookie, he squashed the receiving issue right away. 36 catches on 39 targets. And for the vast majority of the season, he didn't have a drop. I think there was only one incompletion in his direction until the last week or two. Kicked it up to 40 receptions last year with Carson Wentz as his quarterback.
Yes.
So, I mean, Jonathan Taylor can catch. That's not a thing anymore. Matt Ryan is his quarterback who likes to throw to running backs. Both of these guys are going to get fed the ball as runners and receivers. Look at Matt Ryan throughout his career recently. Cordero Patterson, Mike Davis had plenty of receptions. Devontae Freeman. The proof is all there throughout Ryan's career. And look at Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor's receiving numbers, throughout their careers now. I just think it's very obvious they're going to be heavily utilized in the passing game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of my favorite plays last year was there was a snap where Nyheim Hines was in the backfield as the running back. Jonathan Taylor was out as like the Z receiver on the outside. And the play call was a fake handoff to Hines and then a quick screen to Taylor on the outside, which netted like 15 yards. Just any way that you can get these two running backs on the field in the pass game. Because, there's so many guys out there that say, running the ball doesn't matter, running backs don't matter. But they're playmakers. These are guys that if they get the ball in their hands, they can make things happen. So in an offense like this with the Colts, where it's so much mesh, it's so much run after catch, it's so much predicated on making guys miss, you want the ball in your running back's hands in the open field. And when you have a guy like Nyheim Hines who can run routes like a receiver, and a guy like Jonathan Taylor where if he just touches that ball in the open field, he's going to make guys miss. Those are real weapons right there. But we're talking running backs here. I really want to get back into just arguing with Jake here. So I don't even really want to talk running backs anymore. So up next, guys, we're going to talk about the tight end group. I'm going to pick one tight end. Jake's going to pick a tight end, and we're going to hash it out and see, who will be the second leading receiver in this tight end group. I can't take it seriously.
Once again.
All right, so yeah, we're jumping into this tight end group, and because Jake was so gracious to give me the stage on the first section with Alec Pierce and let me make that the selection, he gets this one. He gets to take the first guy here, and unfortunately, he's taking the title sponsor of our podcast. This is the Kylen Granson podcast. So you take it off with Kylen Granson here, Jake.
I thought it was the Curtis Brooks podcast featuring Kylen Granson.
Oh, that's what. Okay, we'll mention Curtis Brooks in this as well, but
okay,
Kylen Granson. And then we'll hit on Curtis Brooks in the outro.
No, I'll take the layup. I think Kylen Granson is the easiest answer. We know Mo Alley-Cox is the tight end one. It's the first time being asked to be the guy because Jack Doyle has now retired. But Granson, he's going into year 2. Smart guy. He's been in the system for a year. He's going to have a quarterback now that's very tight end friendly with Matt Ryan. We're going to have to start calling this the Matt Ryan show also, apparently.
Well, yeah,
We
knew that. We knew that coming in.
Yeah, of course. But no, it's I think he's going to fit very well. Where someone like Mo Alley-Cox is probably going to get some downfield shots and some red zone stuff. Kylen Granson, I think, is going to get some underneath, probably some things up the hash, lots of yards after catch opportunities. Maybe feature some of the things the Colts wanted to do with like Michael Pittman a couple years ago as a rookie. Just kind of make it kind of a basic route tree, but give him a lot of opportunities to catch the ball on the run and create. But no, I think Kylen Granson, if we didn't see a ton of the athleticism last year just with the ball in his hands, but there was such a small sample size. But I hope we get the opportunity to see it this year. And since I think he'll be doing a lot of more underneath stuff, going up the hash as well, and kind of stretching linebackers down the middle, I think he'll have the opportunity to finish second in receiving. I know that's the easy answer, but there's a reason why it's the easy answer.
I'm sitting here like biting my tongue. I'm like, I just want to add more to his argument. So guys, don't listen to the last two podcasts. Just listen to my argument here. But obviously no, I'm just kidding. It's Jelani Woods is the guy I'm taking here. Jelani Woods, I think, is a guy who, if we're talking second leader in receptions in this tight end group, it's hard to make that argument for Jelani Woods. I just don't think he's going to see as many snaps as a Kylen Granson or a Mo Alley-Cox. But if we're talking yards, I can make the argument for Jelani Woods. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go after yards and yards per catch and big plays. I think Jelani Woods could be the big play option at this tight end group. With Mo Alley-Cox taking more of the Jack Doyle role, he's going to be more of a blocker, more of a guy who, if they do deep shots and stuff, he'll be the guy staying in. Jelani Woods, on the other hand, is a speedster for his humongous size. He had a high yards per catch last year, ton of touchdowns last year at UVA in their spread passing attack. And we've kind of seen over the past couple of years that the Colts love to throw in some tight end deep shots. At Jack Doyle against the Bills back in 2020 had an out and up for like a 30-yard touchdown. There was a touchdown last year, I think, or I think it was just a deep pass to Jack Doyle last year against the Bucks, where it was like a sail route. And Frank Reich loves those sail routes with tight ends running up the hash and then breaking outside after the outside corner gets taken by the post. And Jelani Woods is the perfect guy for that. He's the fastest tight end in this group. I mean, if we're talking size-wise, he's the guy who can get down there quick enough and he can go up and get it if need be. And I think he's a guy where if he gets the ball, in space, he can make some things happen after the catch. We see that with Mo as well. But again, Mo's going to be more of the all-around tight end. So if we're looking at pass catching, in its entirety, Jelani Woods, I think, is going to get a ton of downfield shots, and it's going to be very sporadic. I think it'd be like maybe 10, 15 snaps a game. But when he gets out there, defenses are going to have to account for him. So, I'm kind of banking on the fact that he's going to get out there and get some catches in a lot of passing situations. And if he gets some run after catch opportunities, I mean, it could be really pretty for him in the pass game.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that for sure. We've seen that with like Eric Ebron, for example. It seemed like when he was on the field, it was for the intention of him getting the ball or being one of the first couple reads. And so I think especially with him only getting 10, 15 snaps a game, that'll be the intention. They'll be like, okay, well, we have this small package for him. Let's get him the ball at least. That probably is going to be what it is. And I don't see how he wouldn't be the best downfield threat either. Huge, just pterodactyl, catch radius. He's got the freak athleticism. We know what Matt Ryan likes to do with those deep boundary shots. I just think that's a match made in heaven. Yep. But if he's being brought along slowly like a normal rookie tight end would, it's just going to be a difference of opportunity. That's the only thing. If we're looking forward to 2023, Woods may even be the number one. But for this year, I definitely see him getting probably the most big plays or deep shots. It could be like when, for the last couple years, people get very frustrated at how Mo Alley-Cox can go on a little bit of a hot streak, and then it almost seems like he's phased out.
It's like one game. It's like one game a year. Mo Alley-Cox goes for like 80 and a touchdown or 80 and 2 touchdowns, and it's like, oh, he's finally arrived, and then there he goes. But
that's how it was with Nyheim Hines a lot as well.
Yeah, I will say
to bring it back around.
Yeah, to help my argument, guys, just imagine 2018. You had Eric Swope running some scissor route concepts with Miley Cox, and that was so deadly. Now imagine Jelani Woods in that role. I'm talking, we're talking like 50 yards a catch here. So that's my argument. We're gonna go 50 yards per catch.
Okay.
on 4 catches, but that might be enough for me the second leading receiver in this tight end group. But I do like Kylen Granson a lot. I think he's going to eat up a lot of those underneath routes and a lot of those underneath responsibilities. But, again, if we're going purely off yards, Jelani Woods might break off enough big plays to be that second leading receiver in the tight end group.
Yeah, but I'll be gracious enough to give you the W on that one. And with that being the case, that does it for us today on Locked On Colts, everybody. We'll be back with you on Friday. Zach and I have a very special guest who is going to talk to us about a couple of young potential star defenders that he has personally trained over the last couple of years.
Yep. And remember, guys, follow us on social media at Zach Hicks 2. Remember, follow me first, and then you can go over and follow Jake at Jake Arthur NFL. He's the guy who actually has NFL in his name, so it means he's actually a little
But
more.
You're not hurting for followers there, champ.
No, that's true. That's true. And also follow the Locked On Colts podcast on Twitter at Locked On Colts. And we're on YouTube, guys. We're on YouTube. Some of you guys might be watching this video right now. Go to the YouTube channel, follow Locked On Colts, laugh at my really crummy transition that I put in. Just, we like to have fun on this podcast. So the transitions are a way for you guys to have fun with it. But yeah, guys, follow us on these social media platforms, rate and review on wherever you listen, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Give us them 5 stars because, new host, new show. We want to start off on the right foot with some 5 stars.
Absolutely. Please do that. But thank you guys again for making Locked On Colts your number 1 listen today. Now make your second listen the Locked On NFL podcast. Our national NFL experts and insiders keeps fans dialed in with the biggest stories and the latest news from around the league, because an offseason doesn't equal a break in the action. I think we all know that. We like to come up with random stuff to talk about all the time. Oh, yeah. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you in a couple days.